Well, good morning, everybody there in YouTube land. This is Rockin' Spirit coming to you live. I am on a long journey, about 2.5 hour drive, so I had some things on my mind as I've been listening to podcasts and some word from some sermons that I've been listening to, and it brought me to a place of thinking about just the condition of man today in the world that we walk in. And it's nothing new today. It's been around since the beginning, and that is people that miss the true meaning of life and really what our journey is to be about here. And there's nothing new under the sun where this is concerned. Plays itself out over and over again through time, and certainly not unlike today is probably the most aggressive stage that I can think of in the times that we've had since the world began. But it's all kind of culminating and coming to a head in the most aggressive form as like before the flood. And basically what I'm coming to you today is with the idea of man being prideful and self-centered and selfish. And I think today, if we're honest, we can look around the world and even in ourselves, and we could see that pride and that self-centeredness. We are a culture that prides itself on self-love, self-care, get to the top, step on anybody you can on your way up, push people out of the way to get what you want. We want it quick, we want it now. There's not any patience. There's not any patience, and there's not any honor or respect for God in that. And, the most gracious thing that we can do in the sight of God is to have humility in light of who He is and what He's done for us and why we're here. When we humble ourselves and deny ourselves and we look at God, then we serve Him and we love Him, and then we serve others out of that same love. But when people get offended today, they go into their own little bubbles and own little worlds of self-pity and to coddle themselves instead of going through the motions of the suffering and looking and seeing into that suffering and why is it there? What is it trying to tell me and teach me? And when we get into these trials and tribulation times, there's supposed to be lessons learned and to draw us to God. He's crying out for us to have a relationship with us and to get our eyes on Him. But all too often the world is telling us, no, that's not why. It's just life stinks, and crap happens, and go into your own little world, take care of yourself, and indulge in all the things that make you feel happy to escape the pain, to build yourself up and to honor yourself and to build your self-esteem and your ego. And it's just not about that. The Bible tells us that we're to die to ourselves. We've become a new creature in Christ. We are to become Christ-like. Okay, so it's not about keeping ourselves erected and alive in a sense in our old man, but we're to take on a new creature, a new character that is supposed to imitate Christ. And we honor God when we die to ourselves and our desires and our pride, our ego, our pity parties, just entertaining the delights and passions in our heart that are not kingdom bound, So when we don't stay connected to God and we focus our eyes and shift them on ourselves, building ourselves up, we don't hear from God well. Because looking at God and listening to Him means to turn away from yourself. When you turn away from yourself and you're focusing on the things of God, you hear His voice a lot clearer, those whispers, And then, oftentimes we end up carrying them to the point where we want to live that out and we want to respond to Him. When we're doing our own thing, our ears are closed, we're not responding to Him, and we are not doing His will. We're doing our own. And so basically, we can go to church and we can think we're all about God and we love Him and we're being around the people and having a good time, but really we're far from Him. Even it talked about Peter, who was very close to the Lord and walked on water, to meet the Lord. And he got to a place of priding himself that, he had a great position with Christ, and, they were all tight, and he was doing, great relationship stuff with the Lord and honoring Him. And Jesus says, hey, no, you're going to fall away. I'm going to be pierced and you're going to scatter. And he's saying, not me. I mean, look, whose house do you stay at? When you come into town, I'm great. I honor you like crazy. And Jesus is like, well, no, in your own mind. But the proof is going to be in the pudding, because as soon as this happens to me, you're going to create a big space between me and you because of your own self-protection, your own self-pride, your own fears. So you are not, in fact, as close to me as you think you are. And so those people that pride themselves on being so close to the Lord should self-evaluate and make sure, is that a prideful statement or is that truth? Because I would venture to say that if it were true and you are close to Christ, that you are going to be humble and you're going to question yourself. Am I doing enough for you, Lord? Am I hearing you? Am I listening? Am I denying myself? You're always going to be checking yourself and evaluating yourself in light of the Lord in your relationship, wanting to do better and better. You're not going to walk around with some high mighty ego and saying, I got it all going on. There's nobody greater than I, nobody closer to the Lord. Look what He's done for me. And that's just a dangerous place to be. We should always be humble. Always think lowly of ourselves in relationship to Him. And we can't outdo Him. Jesus is always the better lover of our soul than we are. And we need to let Jesus love our soul. We don't need to love ourselves. That's what He does for us. Now, I'm not saying we're supposed to hate ourselves. I'm saying this in a different context, because God does want us to care for our vessel, because it houses our spirit and He has a job for our vessel to do. Okay, He's moving our spirit from place to place, and this body is where it carries us, okay, to be able to have relationship and to work. That's what our vessel does for us. So we need to keep it in good condition and honor it, because it is the temple where the Lord dwells, and with our spirit. Okay, so if we honor that and thank God for the vessel that He gave us, He will give us health and long life. His word says that. But you can't work very long in a vessel that's decaying and dying, because it's not going to be around long. And we are going to be sidelined trying to take care of a wounded vessel when our spirit wants to go out and work and be diligent for the Lord. So it is important to check how we treat our bodies, so that we are conditioning that body to run the race, so it doesn't give out before we are ready to go, and that we can work till the very end for the name of the Lord. So with that, it is a bit of a cloudy day, but I got the sun in my heart. So with that, God bless and make it a great day.